Welcome back, YouTube. I am here with another Naruto and RWBY What If concept. This one centers around the question of, what if Naruto were reincarnated into RWBY and was Glynda's son? Simple concept, I know. However, there's a catch. The idea is that Kurama was reincarnated alongside Naruto and still resides within him, which is where the title gets the boy with two souls. So sit back, relax, click on that link below to read along. Don't forget to comment and hit that like button if you like the story. If you enjoy this type of content, consider subscribing. Now, onto this boy with two souls. Life presses on, moving inevitably forward. Time waits for no man. Death finds everyone. It is the one truth of life throughout all universes. Whether you are young, old, somewhere in between, lost in life, life will eventually come to an end. Didn't matter who you were, whether or not your deeds did tremendous good, or you were the scum of the earth. If you scraped by, barely making it day to day, or you had spoils of riches that you did not know what to do with. It did not matter if you were a street bum or someone who saved the world. Death would find you, no matter how hard you ran, no matter how cursed you were. However, sometimes such a pure and simple soul resonates for all to see, shines so brightly that all stop and take notice, to watch the brilliant glow until the light fades and death comes. And in that moment, even death refuses to let the light fade. Gives another chance to shine so it can witness the glorious light one last time. He was so late. How could he be this late? She was gonna kill him. A young man in a tight black shirt and the brightest orange pants one could buy frantically ran around his room, throwing stuff off his desk and onto his bed, and diving into his closet, desperately seeking something he could not find. The only thing he could find was his spray cans. Those were safely secured in his tan hip pouch. Oh right, my goggles. Can't forget them or my mask. The young man picked up a dark blue pair of goggles and strolled them over his spiky blonde locks like a headband before picking up a navy blue mask. He resumed his search, tossing everything from his clothes, sheets, and various objects around in his room. There was only one thing in particular he was searching for. A small box with something precious inside of it. Come on! Where did I hide it? Where did I leave it? Where did I leave her present? Naruto grunted, stopping his destruction and scanning his room again. Naruto, what are you doing? Naruto froze. His heart thudded thunderously in his chest. That was his mother's voice. He didn't even hear the door open. It's not what it looks like. Naruto defended his actions before he scrunched his face. This wasn't like the last time she entered his room when he was least expecting it. It's precisely what it looks like, his tall, blonde mother sighed, rolling her emerald eyes. You lost Miss Rose's gift for her birthday, didn't you? No! Naruto adamantly denied, recoiling his mother's stern glare. He couldn't admit to his mother he had lost something. She would scold him, or turn this into a lesson. Why did she have to be a professor at Beacon? Glynda Goodwitch gave her son an exasperated stare, looking at something swishing behind him frantically. Naruto, what have you done since you were a kid? When you didn't want to lose something? I tied it to my tail. I don't see where that... Naruto scowled, annoyed by his mother's question. What was she... Naruto turned his head towards his swishing and fluffy blonde foxtail to see a red ribbon tied around it. And tied to that ribbon was a small, wrapped gift box. Son of a... Naruto tried to curse, only to wince at his mother's sharp tongue. Language? Glynda glowered, glaring at her son. He knew better. There was no need for obscenities outside of choice moments. Now was not one. Sorry, Naruto refrained from rolling his eyes before frowning, noticing his mother's attire. He knew it wasn't a uniform, but it was the outfit his mother wore when she went to school, or was going on a hunt. Where are you off to? Classes don't start for another few weeks. Don't tell me you're already preparing. I know this year's the Vital Festival, but this is too early to prepare. Naruto pursed his lips before glowering. Naruto didn't like how often his mom spent time at that school. Around him. He was hitting on his mother. He was sure of it. Why else would he always finding reasons to be around her? For our young future huntsmen and huntresses to succeed, I need to be prepared for any possibility. Ready to help them with whatever they need. You know that. Glynda exhaled, while shaking her head and seeing Naruto glower distastefully. She understood why. He didn't like Headmaster Ozpin. Despite the man being one of the few people who were there for him, for her, after having Naruto, her son simply didn't like him. Always told her it felt like he was hiding something. And Naruto wasn't wrong. Naruto didn't know about the order. He would flip out if he ever learned. Many people would. Fine, Naruto scowled before scoffing and glaring at his mother. However, he better stick to his work if he knows what's good for him, or I'm gonna... Don't you have other things you have to worry about? Aren't you late for a very special date? Glynda raised her brow at Naruto, her lips quivering in amusement upon seeing the panic creep into her son's expression. That's not funny, Naruto snapped, rushing over to the closet to pull out an orange coat with blue trimming before throwing it on. Don't forget your scroll or your key. I'll be out for most of the night. Glynda turned from the door to let her son finish getting ready. However, she stopped and sent him a shaded glare. And under no circumstances are you to bring her home with you. You know that, right? Hey, what kind of delinquent do you think I am? Naruto squinted before recoiling at his mother's stare. The one that was caught by Mrs. Rose's sister making out with her in a theater. Glynda sneered before scowling. Naruto recoiled and grimaced. That had only happened once. It was so spontaneous that neither he nor RWBY knew what had happened. It was an accident, he swore. I won't, I promise. We're not going to do anything like that, I swear. Naruto pocketed his scroll and checked his pouch to make sure he had his key. You said that on that movie date, remember? Glynda scoffed and glared at her withering son. She also knew what they were going to do. Glynda had seen him bring in the spray cans, had heard from Taiyang that his daughter had mysteriously brought paint cans and brushes. They were up to something insidious. And Glynda didn't mind that. It was a harmless prank. However, it did give them quite a lot of alone time. She feared what they could do besides that. The last thing Glynda wanted was to become a young grandmother. Well, same for you. Don't do anything you don't want me doing. Naruto scrunched his face and matched Glinda's glare. Glynda rolled her eyes. Her son could be quite childish at times. Her relationship with Ozpin wasn't like that. But if it kept him from doing what he shouldn't, I have no objections. I know I won't. Glynda repressed the urge to smirk, observing her son's brow repeatedly twitch before he threw up his hands in defeat. Fine, you win. You won't do anything, but I gotta go. RWBY's already going to be annoyed at me for being so late. Naruto slammed his door, huffing as he crossed the living room and went to the exit. See you in the morning, Glynda simply smiled, watching Naruto leave. I love you. Love you too, Mom. See ya then, Naruto waved, heading out while Glynda stared at the door longingly before sighing. Her son was growing up so quickly. It felt as if it only had been yesterday when she first met his father. That mysterious dark fondness. She was so young back then. It was such a silly mistake to forget. At least I received you from such a foolish night, Glynda smiled, shaking her head. And she too left the house, locking the door behind her. You sure you can trust him? A male voice mocked as Glynda exited. Glinda's eyes sharpened. With a nasty glare, she turned and snapped at the dusty huntsman, waiting just outside her door. He's my son, Crow. I trust him. So did I until that movie date. Crow frowned, meeting Glinda's gaze. And RWBY isn't as innocent as you think she is. Don't forget whose idea the date was. Glynda snapped back with a growl. Crow scoffed, breaking his gaze and looking away, sharply glancing in a direction that Glynda knew Naruto had traveled. However, his scowl faded, and his expression turned serious. We have a bit of a situation. Obviously, you're here without a drink in hand. Progress, Glynda retorted before her features softened. Are Amber's assailants here? I think they might be, but I can't confirm it. Her minions are good at slipping away and leaving without a trace, Crow hissed, but shook his head. They always are, Glynda frowned, nervously glancing in the direction Naruto went, before shaking her head. She had the focus. She had a job to do, and by doing that job, he would be safe. RWBY would be safe. Keep an eye open for me, would ya? Crow exhaled, glancing down the street. The same fear took root in Crow before he repressed it as well. I can't be in two places at once. There's enough evidence that they have been in Mistral, but I just have a gut feeling they're here. I'll do what I can. I don't have the same level of freedom as you do. I'm a mother and a teacher, Glynda sighed with a nod. Hey, I'm a teacher too, Crow proclaimed before shrinking from Glinda's annoyed stare. One who never shows up for work except to train his niece, Glynda blandly responded. Give me some credit. I trained some other brats. Crow turned his nose away and huffed. Naruto doesn't count, Glynda snorted, glancing down the street before pacing away. We'll watch over Vale the best we can while you keep searching. If something out of the ordinary happens, I'll let you know. So don't get too drunk out there, or that you can't answer your scroll again. Yeah, I'll try my best, Crow glowered, turning away and heading in the opposite direction. But first, I'm gonna need a drink for this. Tonight was the night. Tonight they would hit the red light district. The city's vibrant lights that flashed in the night and frenetic music energized Naruto. And so many people were out enjoying the nightlife that fueled him. However, it was a good thing they were so absorbed in their activities. It meant it was unlikely that they would be caught tonight. The question was, now that Naruto was here, where was his partner? Naruto paused, placing his hand on his chin. He searched and looked around the street as copious amounts of people went to the bars and clubs. RWBY wouldn't have entered one of them since she had no interest in that kind of thing. So where did she go? Naruto's gaze focused at a peculiar bar. One called Junior's. There was a very familiar motorcycle parked before it. Is that Bumblebee? Naruto ran his hands through his locks. Yoo-hoo! Down there! Naruto jumped, gazing up to see two individuals sitting upon a nearby streetlight. One looking down at him with a scowl, while the other had a beaming smile. RWBY and her big sister, Yang. You're late! Why am I not surprised? RWBY leapt down before rolling her eyes. Ooh, you're in trouble. Yang jumped down beside Naruto, mocking him and lightly jabbing him in the shoulder. You better make it up to her. Hey, watch it! Naruto swatted Yang away, glowering at her presence. Why are you here? Dad says I gotta keep my eye on you two, so no funny business. RWBY, that means no being handsy with his tail. Not until you're 16, Yang chuckled, slapping Naruto on the back before blandly staring at her sister and shaking her finger in RWBY's direction. That rule sucks. You were younger when you were allowed to date. RWBY pouted and glared at her sister in agitation. Yo, my bad. I own up to my mistakes. I messed up for both of us. Yang laughed at RWBY's annoyance before turning away. Now, don't do anything rash while I'm away, lovebirds. And where are you going? You better not be going to steal a drink, RWBY lamented, placing her hand on her hip and scowling. Only a strawberry sunrise, Yang's grin, wilting from RWBY's heated stare. Okay, I heard that apparently these guys have a lot of information. Just gonna swing on in and see if they have any information about Mom, okay? Fine, don't start any trouble or Dad will get on both of us. RWBY frowned and nodded. I won't. I'll be in and out and join you guys. I don't want to miss out on this. Yang smirked, placating her sister before turning back, heading to the doors of the bar known as Junior's. Naruto kept out of the sister squabble and stayed to the side. He frowned upon hearing about their Yang was looking for a mom, but he understood. He always wondered about his dad. Sorry about that, RWBY fluffed her skirt and brightly beamed as she stepped before Naruto. I was worried you weren't going to show up. Did your mom give you an earful again? Did she give you the talk like Dad did? Several times, Naruto smiled back, reaching into his pouch. Happy birthday, Rose. I got you something. Oh, what is it? Is it a cool new weapon? RWBY excitedly bounced, her eyes sparkling in adoring wonder. Rose, I ain't gonna find something better than Crescent Rose. You have one of the most dangerous weapons ever made, Naruto scoffed, pulling the small wrapped gift box from his pouch. But every weapon's cool. Oh wait, what's this? RWBY scowled before her eyes dazzled once more. Then her face fell. Wait, that looks like... Wait. We're too young for that. What are you talking about? Naruto squinted and pushed the gift box to RWBY. You told me about the bands you like, so I downloaded everything they've ever made. Oh! Really? That's amazing! RWBY wiped the bead of sweat from her brow before her jittery energy returned, snatching and opening the gift box to take out the drive, and immediately connected it to her scroll while simultaneously putting on her headphones. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. RWBY bounced and danced in place, rocking her head side to side. Glad you liked. Naruto started letting out a light laughter, but before he could even finish his sentence, his breath was taken away by RWBY leaping into his arms. He acted on instinct, grasping her while she wrapped her arms around his neck and pulled him into her. Their lips locked with a sweet yet briefly passionate kiss. Thank you, RWBY purred as she affectionately gazed into his cerulean eyes. Ready to paint this district red? Despite having his breath taken away by RWBY and his heart quivering in his chest, a slim smirk crossed Naruto's features. Oh, you know I am. Let's show this place how it's done! This was going to be a long night. Preparing her classes wasn't easy enough. Her specialty was in combat studies, so there was not much preparation she could do. All the records of her students were archived and recorded. However, there was only so much she could achieve by reading and watching videos. It was easier to gauge one's prowess personally, However, there are a few notable exceptions. Blake Belladonna, a mysterious young woman whose record Osmond cleared despite having formerly been part of the White Fang. Glynda wondered what caused her to change her view and actively pursue becoming a huntress. Lee Ren, a quiet young man born in Mistral, quick and intelligent, a good strategist, but lacking in endurance. Weiss Schnee, Harris of the Schnee Dust Company, quite the talent. Glynda knew her sister well, and Winter spoke highly of Weiss's skills. It was a lack of genuine confidence she struggled with, despite her confident demeanor. Nora Valkyrie, another hyper young girl from Mistral, with thunderous strength to match that energy. Yang Zhao Long, Tai Yang's oldest child and Ruby's elder sister. Bold and strong, she was a natural beauty, but quick to anger. She had spent years tempering that rage, which was usually directed at her son. Glynda shook her head and let out a sigh, rolling her eyes at the memories. Her son had grown since then, but it was frightening to see the similarities between him and Yang. Her attention shifted to the last document she had yet to glance at. She purposely saved it for later, for it contained the records of the most talented young huntress she had seen in ages, Pyrrha Nikos. Her skill was unparalleled. She was faster, stronger, better trained than some huntsmen and huntresses. She won 4 Mistral Youth tournaments in a row, when no one else had ever repeated any of the kingdom's regional tournaments before. And from everything Glynda had read and seen, Pyrrha didn't grow complacent. She wanted to learn more, to gain more skills and become stronger. Miss Nikos was a rare talent. The change to mold a huntress of her caliber was monumental. And yet she chose Beacon. It would have felt like an immense pressure. However, it was one she could bear. Strong as Miss Nikos was, she still had a lot to learn, and she could teach her. Her skills had not only honed over years from seeing many prodigies before, Glynda had also raised one. Her son, dense as he was in the classroom, was masterful once he was in battle. Unpredictability combined with a blend of strength and speed that was rare to see. And then there was his semblances. Diligently at work like always, I see. Glynda was roused from the documents on her tablet to see Ozpin entering her office. I'm quite curious, what students have caught your eye this year? Besides Miss Nikos, of course. We were lucky to have her choose us. We have quite a few capable candidates this year who rise above the rest. I believe they will succeed and be excellent huntsmen and huntresses. It's simply more about who we place around Miss Nikos so she can make sure they can succeed. Glynda mused, her attention returning to her pad. Nothing is ever determined. We can guide and try to intervene, but often their choice is what sets them on their path. Ozpin chuckled, sitting on the corner of Glynda's desk. However, I was disappointed in your decision to deny your son's admittance. He's 15, Oz. He's too young, Glynda scowled, lifting her gaze to stare at Ozpin flatly. Perhaps, but he's more mature and better trained than most of the candidates we receive every year. Ozpin mused, accepting Glynda's correct assessment before pursing his lips. Yet I couldn't help but wonder what would have happened if he joined this year. I could only wonder what it would be like if he were partnered with someone like Miss Nikos, or Lady Schnee, even Miss Xiao Long. I have personally seen how that partnership works. I would rather our school be left intact, thank you. Glynda scowled, shaking her head. Both Tai Yang and she were still paying off the debts of their scuffle at Signal. It was why she had transferred him to Pharos. A shame, as she preferred leaving him in the hands of a capable teacher like Ty. And Crow when he was available. However, Pharos was closer. That was quite the spectacle to witness, Ozpin chuckled with a twinkle in his eye. I didn't see it that way, Glynda frowned. She had to fix the damage they had done, and then be asked to pay recompense for their actions. It was just a scuffle. I suppose... Is it perhaps that you would rather he's paired with Miss Rose? I've heard she was quite the mess until they became friends. Ozpin closed his eyes and smiled. That is not why, Glynda glared, unappreciative of his suggestive look before glowering. And Crow is responsible for both of their dramatic improvements. When he puts his mind to it, he's a better trainer than anyone else. True, Ozpin nodded, agreeing with Glynda's assessment. However, he simply smiled. However, those two are capable of quite amazing feats when they're paired together. Did you see what they did tonight? What did they do? Glynda shouted, slamming her hands on her desk, rising in her chair and staring at Ozpin. Ozpin simply motioned towards her scroll. Did you check my message? I sent you the photos. Glynda's eyes quivered and she furiously snapped her scroll from her desk. Her face burned as she seized upon seeing many of the bars and clubs in what was known as the red light district were defaced and... They destroyed juniors? Glynda seethed, slamming her scroll down onto the desk in frustration. Oh, that was Miss Xiaolong. I think she was supposed to be keeping an eye on them, keeping young Ruby from being a little grabby. Ozpin refrained from chuckling, however his amusement was apparent. Glynda clicked her tongue against the roof of her mouth. She said nothing more to Ozpin, knowing he did not mind their antics. It was an annoyance to the police, and Miss Xiaolong's actions were legal, for she had her in-training license, and given juniors was filled with those delinquents. Heading out, Ozpin smiled, waving goodbye as Glynda took her cape from the back of her chair, tied it, and swept past him. Let Naruto know anytime he wants to talk, I'm here for him. Glynda glowered, but internally, the rage she felt soothed ever so slightly. Ozpin knew Naruto didn't like him, but he always left the door open for him. Ozpin was a good godfather, whether Naruto liked him or not. He might, after Glynda was done with him. She told him not to get in trouble. That was a riot. Naruto laughed, walking in between Ruby and Yang after parking Bumblebee, heading to their favorite shop to hang out. It was a small family-owned dust shop, but the old shopkeeper always welcomed them. He seemed to enjoy their company. And it kept away the thieves and delinquents. How many times they had busted people here. Or busted up his shop with their scuffles. Naruto and Yang were friends, but when they disagreed, their path of destruction was endless. Oh, you guys were busy while I was in there. You made those places shine, Yang smirked, bellowing in laughter. Your exit was really cool, too. Ruby lightly giggled before scowling. But we're gonna be in so much trouble back home. Dad's gonna be so mad. Your mom's gonna be so pissed off at you. What's new? Naruto raised his brow before smirking. Mom's mellowed out over the years. Believe me, when I was young, my butt was raw. And what can they do now? Tell us off? We're almost adults. Even if you have a few more years left to go there, Rubes. Yang confidently smirked before reaching over Naruto, booping at Ruby's nose. Ruby scrunched her face and glared at Yang. However, her mood lightened as she smiled, snuggling closely towards Naruto as they headed to the dust shop. They had done a good job. The place looked so much better with all those roses and spiraling orange swirls, covering the signs and decorating their walls. It was better than all that filth they openly displayed. It was okay to do in private, or when no one was looking. Hands off! Yang slapped Ruby's hand from behind Naruto, squinting at her while Naruto rolled his eyes. It feels weird when you do that. Please don't, Naruto exhaled, staring down at Ruby. But it's just so fluffy, Ruby whined, pouting. She just wanted to feel his soft, silky tail, lay her head down on it and rest on it all night. You're a weirdo, Yang shook her head while Naruto palmed his face. I'm not, Ruby defiantly huffed while she placed her hands on her hips. Yeah, you... What's going on over there? Yang enjoyed getting a rise out of her sister, but suddenly stopped and her gaze narrowed. Those look like the guys I just pounded at juniors. Didn't they used to be part of the Zhang clan? That ruthless mob that fell apart 3 years ago? Naruto nudged Ruby. 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, yeah? I remember hearing about that. Ruby furrowed her brow and nodded, observing their suspicious actions. Wait, are they stealing? Not at their hangout, we're not. Naruto growled, reaching for 2 bows sheathed down his hips. Time for more butt whooping. These guys don't learn. Yang's gauntlet snapped into place, her gaze shifting and meeting Naruto's and Ruby's. And all 3 leapt into the store with a resounding battle cry. Several cries were heard from within, followed by the sounds of flesh being smacked by steel. A few resounding blasts reminiscent of shotguns followed as goons wearing tuxedos with red ties were tossed out the door. And finally, a dapper man with a black bowler hat and a red-lined white tailcoat leapt through the window and rolled through it, his cane deflecting several strikes from Naruto's bows as he followed after. Who the hell are you kids? Roman snarled, knocked back, blocking Naruto's last strike before lifting his nose and looking down on Naruto. Do you know who I am? Don't know, don't care. Naruto's eyes flickered red before rushing in. Their weapons clashed with a blur, neither unable to gain an edge, before Roman threw a knee that landed directly into Naruto's gut. Naruto simply absorbed the bow, rolled, and smacked Roman with a backhanded bow strike. Son of a... Roman spat disdainfully as he stumbled before glaring at Naruto. Kid, who the hell are you? You hit harder than most huntsmen I've dealt with before. Those were some weak huntsmen then. I can do this all day, Naruto smirked, his eyes gleaming enthusiastically. The name's Naruto Uzumaki. Remember the name, as I'm gonna be the best damn huntsman ever. You better believe it. Ruby, Yang! On it! Yang leapt through the window, flanking Roman's left as Naruto rushed right. Right behind you! Ruby dashed through the blistering speed, transforming into a swirl of rose petals, trailing Naruto's charge before taking the middle. Roman's eyes bulged as a red flicker of roses swarmed him and struck with blistering speed. Her scythe was too fast to block. Her hits, well, definitely not as powerful as Naruto's, still stung. However, Roman had dealt with speedsters before. They were always quick, but they rarely could take a hit. The problem was landing one since she was dispersing, but appearing to attack. The issue was that he was left wide open for 2 juggernauts to lay into him. And their blows hurt. He hadn't been shot by a shotgun in a while, and this one happened to be fueled by a super-powered punch. And those bows hurt like hell. His aura was already about to snap from this onslaught. He could barely parry or block them. He just needed a moment to... There! Roman held out his cane, clicking the trigger directly in Ruby's face. Ah! Ruby dispersed, allowing the shot to go through and hit the car behind her, right into the gas tank. An explosion ripped through the street, knocking Naruto, Ruby, and Yang onto the concrete, causing their aura to shiver around them. That was a cheap shot, Ruby complained, slowly rising, wincing from the sting of the explosion. Oh, this guy's got one coming for him! Yang snarled, pushing back up onto her feet, glowering as she scanned for him. On the ladder, heading up! RWBY! Naruto hopped back up, looking no worse for wear, before pointing out Roman's position. On it! RWBY flickered into roses and flew onto the top of the building, cutting Roman off. However, her eyes narrowed upon seeing what sat on top of it. Hey guys! We've got a bullhead stationed here. You're kidding me. What kind of thief has one of those ready for an escape? Yang complained, following after Roman on the ladder while Naruto ran up the wall, using his semblance allowing him to use his aura in peculiar ways. Who are you kids? Roman gasped as he made it to the top of the roof, jaws slacking. Just some random kids whose hangout you messed with, RWBY cried, rushing forward with a horizontal slash. Roman parried, rolled under, and tried rushing towards the bullhead, stumbling along the way, clutching his bowler hat and cane. I could use some assistance here. These brats are good. RWBY halted her chase. Was there a second party waiting for them? Then she needed to wait for her backup to arrive. They had the advantage in a 1-on-3 fight, but if she took a 1-on-2 battle... You are hopeless. A woman covered in shadow stepped into the docking port of the airship, her amber eyes illuminating as she stared at RWBY through the darkness, allowing Roman the time to jump onto the ship. And what looked like fire erupted around the edges of her eyes. RWBY bent her knees, ready for anything this woman could throw her way. Huh? What's that sound? It sounded like she was out camping near a sizzling... RWBY, watch out! Naruto shouted, leaping over the wall, landing before RWBY, causing her to stumble away just as a pillar of flame erupted around Naruto. Her eyes shimmered fearfully, only for a moment, before RWBY smirked. Oh, you messed up now. You used dust, didn't ya? Oh, that is the worst thing you can do to him, Yang exclaimed, climbing over and whistling as the pillar of flames faded. Cupping her ears, and RWBY mirrored her action while bracing herself. And in its place, a humanoid figure stood, bathed in flames. A single fiery tail flipped behind him, and two long flaming fox ears whipped behind his head as Naruto released a deafening roar that sent cracks throughout the roof from its shockwave. That's not possible, the amber-eyed woman in the bullhead cried, out in disbelief after the roar finished. Now you're getting it. Together we can accomplish the impossible, Yang quipped, her eyes burning with excitement. Finish it, Naruto, RWBY cried triumphantly, as the fire began to consolidate into an orb before Naruto's face. Oh, I'm not sticking around for this, Roman cried over the roar of a bullhead's engine, trying to lift off before whatever the kid had planned. The fiery fox cloak completely drained into the orb before Naruto grasped it with his hands, grinning manically as he did. Here! Catch! Thrusting his arms forward at the airship, lifting into the air, the fiery orb rapidly launched towards it. The amber eyes of the woman shrouded in darkness burned like fire. Holding out her hands as the orb rapidly approached, the heated fireball's approaching speed decelerated until it was basically a crawl. You've gotta be joking, Naruto gaped with an open mouth, stunned. Oh, it's coming back, Yang cried, seeing the ball of flame surge towards them. We gotta move! RWBY screamed, following her sister's example and leaping over the roof. Naruto followed, hopping over just as the ball collided with the roof and unleashed a fiery explosion, incinerating half the building and sending Naruto flying across the street, rolling to a painful stop as he slammed into a car. Naruto! RWBY shouted, swiftly arriving by his side. I'm okay, Naruto grunted as he slowly sat up, clutching his head. That one hurt. I bet. You're covered in ash and soot. Yang whistled, shaking her head and wincing as RWBY gripped his shoulders and shook him. Don't scare me like that. I thought RWBY wailed, shaking Naruto before coming to a stop, her lips quivering. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, Naruto simply answered, smiling as he reached and cupped RWBY's chin, lifting it gently as he gave her a light kiss. RWBY unexpectedly moaned before sulking, glaring at Naruto. I'll forgive you this time. I won't. All three froze as Glynda's voice resonated, drawing their attentions to Naruto's mother as she stepped before them, her gaze sharp as daggers as she looked down upon their horrified expressions. Explain. And that is it for the first part of What If Naruto Was Reincarnated as Glynda's son. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Feedback is appreciated, so let me know what you thought. Subscribe if you like this type of content, and maybe click on the videos that pops up. You might enjoy it too. Until next time, my friends. Peace.